We want academics to be stressed. I've complained that we don't give an academic award on every team in Canada every year. I've complained about that for 20 years. My dad, the first year of the hockey season, would open the hall closet. There was a space at the bottom. He says, that's where your skates go if your grades aren't what they're supposed to be. He said, if you think I care about your hockey career, you're wrong. I care about your academic career. Now, the biggest long-term challenges facing us, it's very simple to me. Number one is that this game, like most full contact sports, is under siege. We've changed the hitting age, that was good. But there are a lot of parents who don't realize that we don't have hitting until bantam age, and they say, well, my son's a novice, Adam, my daughter, nah, concussions, they're not gonna play. That's problem number one. Huge problem in football in the United States. Full contact sports are under siege. People forget some of us chose hockey because it's a full contact sport. All right, and I worry sometimes. I gave this quote at a conference a couple weeks ago and people were outraged. I worry sometimes that we're raising a generation of bubble boys. Remember that movie? Like I remember we were sitting at a level 6 coaching seminar and one of the development guys from USA Hockey said, I'm really worried about my kids. And I said, why are you worried about your kids? He said, I've met your kids are great. He said, well, they've never been in a fight. And I thought, he goes, they just look for a grown-up. They have any kind of dispute, they just look for a grown-up. He said, when we were kids, we settled those things. He said, it wasn't bullying, it was settling things. He said, now they just look for a grown-up. So some of us chose hockey. Like people ask me what sports I played. I played high school football, I played 5 years of rugby when I quit playing pro hockey, and I played hockey. What's the common thread? Some of us chose those sports because we like violence. We like contact sports. Let's not lose sight of that. That's part of what we do. It's part of what makes the game special. That's number one. Number two is this game is too difficult to play in terms of availability. Ice time, the cost of ice time, we'll talk about cost in another minute. Global warming, I see the age of a lot of people in this room is close to mine. We learned outside. I'm not going to name drop here, but I did a charity event with Wayne Gretzky on Monday night in Toronto. Well, I just name dropped, but. And we were talking about the difference. So we all learned to play outside. So you play outside, there's no grown-ups, no officials, and it ain't 5-on-5, and it ain't shirts and skins when it's 15 below. It's gray sweatshirt, green parka, red sweatshirt on the other team. So you learn some finesse and you learn to distribute the puck. There's 8 players you gotta beat. They're not all wearing the same colors, no pennies. That's how we all learn. And so we were saying there's not enough unstructured hockey right now. Kids don't play unstructured hockey. We have the best drill players in the world. We have players who can do drills better than any players I ever saw or played with. They can skate better than I could. They can go around cones better than I could. They can make nice passes and hit targets and nets, but I don't see the hockey sense of the generation before. I think we're producing great drill players. 70% of the arenas in Canada have outlived their useful lives. 70%. It's not an exaggeration, I think it's higher actually, but 70 for sure. So my daughters that live in Toronto learned to skate at the Leaside Memorial Gardens. The rink opened in 1947 in memory of the Canadian War dead. 1947. It's a great 1947 building. It's fantastic. It's dark, it's shitty. They've had to redo the cooling plant twice. It sucks. But it's all, we kept it open. We have to replace that building. We actually raised the money and built a new rink beside it. But we had to do it privately. There wasn't anyone, we didn't want a private rink. We had to raise the money in the community and do it. Most of the rinks that have opened in the last 20 years, especially in the big cities, are private. They're looking for a return on their investment. The ice is very expensive. We have to get back to a situation where the government is rebuilding these rinks. I'm involved in a project working on this right now. So for example, if you're in Canmore or you're in Stettler and you say, well, we're gonna build a rink, what's the first thing you do? You gotta pay an architect $1 million for drawings. We're gonna have a situation where we'll give you the drawings. Germany's doing this now. No one pays design fees in Germany. You want a building, they'll give you the blueprints. They'll give you all the design work for free. We're close to that now in Canada, a project that I'm working on. And we can give you a greener rink, a more efficient rink, a more economic rink to run, and we can keep it from being a private rink. We believe players should play more than one sport. Doesn't bother me if players don't play spring hockey, they want to play baseball. I'll tell you a story. About 10 years ago, a guy called me and he said, "What spring sport should my kid play?" I was like, "Well, what does he like? Shouldn't he play what he likes? Isn't that kind of how it works?" He said, "Well, he likes baseball, but that's no good." I said, "What's no good about baseball?" He said, "Well, there's no cardio." I said, "You're kidding, right? Like, baseball's a great sport. Hand-eye coordination, you got to watch the coach and get the signs. Great teamwork, great hand-eye coordination, great discipline. You've got to be kidding me, right?" And he goes, "No." I said, "Well, here's what you should do then. Let him play baseball, and when you're driving home, stop a mile from your house and make him run home the last mile." Spring hockey's a trap. Because your next door neighbors, your kid's on the team, and you want the best for your kid. So you want Johnny to have the best. Well, Stevie next door is playing spring hockey, and they're going to a tournament. They're going to Quebec. It costs a fortune. None of it's youth hockey associations. It's all private. Unless, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know any of them that youth hockey associations run them. It's all private, and it all makes a ton of money. And so you're like, well, Stevie's going, I'm going to let Johnny go. And it's a trap. If you love your kid, it's a very enticing thing, like, oh, well, Stevie's going. So I was overseas. I was in Belarus with Todd Richards, who's the coach of the Columbus team. And I said, "How are your kids doing?" You know, he's got two sons who are exceptional hockey players. And I said, "How are your boys doing?" He said, "Great." I said, "How was their season?" He said, "Great." He said they played AAA in Columbus and had great years and everyone loved them. And he said at the end of the year, they were getting ready for baseball, and the coach called and said, "You know, tryouts are next week." This is a big thing now in the States and in Canada. Tryouts for next year are in April. Don't ask me how that started. And he said, "Tryouts are next week." He said, "Well, my kids aren't going to be there. They're playing baseball." And he said, "Well, if they miss the tryouts, they can't make the team." He said, "Well, I guess they're not on the team then." So they played baseball, had great years. I said, "What happened in the fall?" He said, "They're on the team."